All right, hey guys, here we are, lightning rod. This isn't a very good wind for lightning rod, but it's something that I'm thinking about putting. Now I am going to just kind of reset my bag a little bit here. But with lightning rod, it's going to be hard to reset my bag. But we'll take a look at a couple different things. I'm thinking maybe Mojave for this one. We'll just see kind of how this lays out. And another thing that I'll typically do is I might set up on a Power 7. Now, why am I going lightning rod? Because it's a little bit easier to precision ring play. And it looks like I won't even need this much power here. So I'm just going to, sometimes I'll put Mojave on, and then when I'm moving on a tailwind like this, I'll just kind of change my ring adjustment. But I'm not going to, so for instance, if I put the Mojave on, pull these rings, and then I can switch to Spider because I've moved to a lower power, and I won't, but for this one, you can see I don't even need that. But why do I go lightning rod? It's because I can more precision count the rings here. And you'll see this ball doesn't really like to move forward up this slope very well. So I'm thinking something along the lines of this with the tailwind. Now, the hardest thing about this club, especially for this, is we're going to be pulling off the lower ground here. This is kind of the same issue that we just talked about on hole 3. Moving to the lower ground really changes things up for us. Now, what would I typically go with this lightning rod 5? I'm thinking, I'm probably somewhere in the range where I'm kind of mid-ish club. So I'm going to do kind of a mid-ish adjustment. So if I was to go to my calculator here, I'm thinking 8.5 divided by somewhere in here, somewhere here to here, somewhere in between those two ring adjustments, I'm thinking. So 3.9-ish. No, is that right? No, that's not right. I'm doing division when I'm supposed to be doing times wind. So somewhere in the neighborhood of, what's that, 18, 18.7, 18 and a half, somewhere in there for this ring adjustment. Now, you might think that that's hard to be precise, but you'll see a lot of times you can be very precise with this club. Because the rings are so small, it's a very great club to use. And you'll see we're just going to zoom in here. You'll see once you move into the rough, it is a little bit tougher to see where you can see the ball guide almost starts disappearing. So it does make it just a little bit tougher in the rough. So right around there is 15. And again, 18-ish. And I'm thinking we're on such low ground, I'm going to kind of underplay my rings intentionally. Because you can see that it's not going to be in the air nearly as long. So instead of even going 18, since we're moving the target to so low ground, I might even go just a tad under 18. It's just kind of like a situational change. And you can see it's because we're pointing on so low ground, what it's doing is it's changing the shot arc, which is going to make it less affected by the wind. Additionally to this adjustment, what you'll see that I do here is I'm going to kind of straighten up my ball guide, kind of in the neighborhood of this, and then we're going to push rings straight up. Since we've moved to such low ground, what's going to end up happening is the ball's going to land shorter than our original target. It's kind of the opposite of the issue from the last hole. Since we moved to higher ground, it's going to come in and land longer. When we move to lower ground, it's going to land shorter. So how much shorter? It's really tough to know for sure. So I'm always just kind of winging this a little bit. But that's one of the reasons that I'm also not using spin. Because if I could just kind of get in the ballpark, I'm going to go maybe about 2 rings here. And with no spin, hopefully it still comes in with enough momentum to get to the hole. So I want to stay fairly aggressive. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So about 2 rings is what I went. Let's just see how this comes in. Of course, we're trying to consider the slope. Man, almost should have just stayed on that 18-ish. I should almost stayed there. But I was also anticipating it to bounce right as well, and then it didn't. So it kind of since the wind was pointed to the left, it almost just kind of rode the wind and just kind of stayed straight there. But I was hoping it would take a little bit of a turn. But you can see our distance control spot on. So if we could have just made just a little bit more of a true adjustment, but that's one of those things, you know, now that I have that pin and that wind knowledge in my repertoire there, when we go back to it a second time, I'll just stick to my true adjustment, the 18.5, because that would have pulled the target more to the right, might have came in right at the hole. So these are the things that you just want to make mental notes of, because going back a second time, we're going to be able to get that much more aggressive with it if we ever have that wind again in a 5-hole in a 5-pin rotation or win scenario swap out, because this is only attempt number 1 for us, so we're just learning the setup. So keep that in mind. Good luck, and I'll see you guys on 5 momentarily.